Live streaming is on.
Okay, guys, good morning. Welcome to Basic Math today. You guys, we're going to go back and work on fractions. We're going to get to adding and subtracting, and we'll do dividing and multiplying. But the first thing I want to do is least common multiple. And the reason why I'm going to cover this, because if you get a fraction, say it's like 1/4 plus 2/7. We can add fractions with different denominators. Remember, denominator is the lower number. So what you're going to have to do, we're going to have to find a common multiple of the bottom two numbers. Okay? And that would be called the least common multiple, or sometimes you see LCM. Okay. So if you get, for example, we'll pick two numbers, 5 and 7. And it says find the least common multiple. How you would do that is we're going to do the multiples of each of these numbers. And the multiple is just adding itself. You add the number to itself. So for example, you'd have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and you keep going. Okay, for 7, we'd have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63. Okay, so now we have to look for a number that both of those have in common. Okay, so you're just going to go through this and we're going to see, okay, 35 and 35 is the smallest number that they both have in common. So the least common multiple for 5 and 7 would be 35. Okay, sometimes what you can do, it doesn't always, the first thing you want to do is see if the smaller number, in this case the 5, would go into 7, which it doesn't. Sometimes it's real easy. You're going to say, okay, the bigger number is least common multiple. For example, if you have 2 and 10, you're going to have 2 goes into 10 5 times. So that's the first thing you want to do is see if the smaller number, in this case the 5, would go into the bigger number. So in this case, 2 does go into 10. So that's just an example. That's the first thing you want to do. It'll save you a little bit of time. Okay, so let's do another one. We're going to use 3 and 8. Does 3 go into 8? It doesn't. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Okay? That's for the 3. You can keep going. I'm just stopping at 30. Okay. And then for 8, you would have 8, 16, 24, 30, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. Okay, so we're going to go through this and see if we find a number that's common, and we do, 24 and 24. So in this case, the least common multiple is going to be 24. Okay, and I'll talk about why this is so important in a second. So we found 3 and 8, least common multiple is 24. Okay, And when I'm doing the multiples, remember all we're doing is we're just adding the number to itself. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, you just keep adding 3. In this case, you just keep adding 8. Okay, so let's do one more. Okay, we're going to do 2 and 5. Does 2 go into 5 evenly? It doesn't. Okay, so for 2, you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 5, we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so now we find the smallest number that both can go into. It's going to be 10. So the least common multiple is going to be 10. Okay. All right. So why do we have to do this? And it goes back to what I showed you at the beginning. So if we're adding fractions, so say we have 2 tenths plus 7. We'll do 3 over 6. Okay. We have different denominators. The numbers on the bottom, down below, are different. So we can't add those together. We have to find a common multiple. So for 10 and 6, we'll do 10 first. We have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay. And for 6, we're going to have 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. So we found our common multiple. It's 30. So what we're going to do is 30 is going to be our denominator because we know both 10 and 6 go into 30. So we're going to put 30 down below here. Okay. Now how do we get 30? We multiply 10 times 3. That gives us 30. And if you multiply the bottom times 3, we're going to have to multiply the top by 3. So 3 times 2 is 6. Okay. Now, 6 times what equals 30? Well, that's going to be 5. It would help if you're your multiplication chart if you're not sure, because multiplication chart, you can just see that. You go across until you see 30 and 6. And that's going to be 6 times 5 is 30. So once again, if we multiply the bottom times 5, we have to multiply the top times 5. So now we have 2 fractions that have the same denominator. Yeah, just like a straight multiplication problem. So 6 times 15 is 21 over 30. Okay, because when you have different denominators, 10 and 6, you have to find a common multiple in order to add them. Okay, let's do one more. Let's say we have 2 fifths plus 3 eighths. So we see that we have different denominators, so we can't add until we find a common denominator. Okay, so 5 would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 8, we have 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. Well, we found our common multiple. It's going to be 40. Both 5 and 8 go into 40. Okay? So 40 is going to be our new denominator. Okay. And what times 5 equals 40? Well, that's going to be 8. And once again, if we multiply the bottom times 8, we have to multiply the top times 8. So 8 times 2 is going to be 16. And then 8 times what equals 40? That's going to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if we multiply the bottom times 5, we have to multiply the top times 5. So that's going to be 15. So then you just do 15 plus 16 is 31 over 40. Okay. So a lot of times, you guys, when we're doing adding and subtracting, especially, you're going to have to find common denominator. And really, you're going to find a number that both the denominators go into. And that's going to be the least common multiple. Okay. We will tomorrow specifically work on, adding and subtracting some fractions. I will put some practice up today of doing some finding the least common multiple. And then tomorrow we'll get into specifically adding and subtracting fractions. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. I'm going to start science here in about 15 minutes at 10:30. Hopefully I'll see some of you there. All right, have a great day. Bye.